Their Planning Commission meeting agenda. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our July 11th, 2024 Planning Commission. My name is Sean Davis. I chair the commission. Seated to my right is Chris Ryer, the Director of Planning and Secretary for the Commission. Mr. Secretary, will you call roll?
Robin Allen.
Present.
Marcia Collins.
Present.
Talib Horn.
Talib sent an email saying he will not be able to make it.
And Eric Costello is not here either. Claudia Jolin.
Present.
Doug McCoach.
Present.
Justin Williams.
Present.
Eric Stevenson.
Present.
Sean Davis.
Present. We have before us our minutes from our June 20th, 2024 meeting. Are there any questions or comments regarding those minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Stevenson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? We have under our consent agenda item CIP transfers first from the May 15th. This was the one holdover item that we had asked for clarification on. Are there any questions or comments regarding this?
No questions, no further questions. Thank you, Kristen.
Is that a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner McCoach. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next, we have the June 26th, 2024 Board of Estimate meeting with 7 transfer items. Are there any questions or comments regarding these?
I have a comment.
Please.
Item number 4, and there's a nearly identical item number 3 on the July 10th meeting agenda, are significant transfers that are explained by changes in paving specifications and increase in construction cost increases.
Yeah. Number 4 was for $25,510,000.
And the other one is for 13.2 million. I mean, I understand the nature of these types of changes and the business, but these are not numbers that I'm comfortable with, you know.
Is,
Relative
Kristen,
to the-
are you? Can you come up?
She's here.
I see you. You can't hide. So the way I read on the June 26th agenda, the way I read item number 4 was the $25,510,000 was for the costs associated with the award of the project for the water main replacement and rehabilitation in Upper Falls Point and West Canton neighborhoods. Okay, for a specific contract amount. Not that that was associated with just increased cost of paving. But that increased cost of paving was part of that.
Okay, important clarification.
Right, you'll note on the 626 transfer number 4 that 15.7 million is coming from a reserve account, this legacy reserve account for that exact project, water main replacement, Fells Point, West Canton. So the remaining from
10 million.
is likely to be related to the cost increase, which might be a time factor since they budgeted that and increases due to inflation, the new repaving standards that they're working towards. And I'm looking at Commissioner Collins. We may want to get back to this group on a briefing session to talk about those new repaving standards.
Is this complete streets?
No.
No, it is a change in agency responsibility in terms of who is responsible for completing the repaving work after.
The simple description is that the
moving
Department of
shells.
Transportation made a policy decision change, and depending on the width of your excavation, normally what we would do if we're digging in a street, we would pave from the lane itself that was impacted, but they made a change to their policy that now it has to be curb to curb. And a lot of our projects that are currently underway were designed prior to this policy change, so those contracts do not contain sufficient funding to meet the change in policy with DOT.
Okay, so
That's just a very crude, simple.
I
We were not grandfathered.
I can't understand how DOT can establish a policy like that adds $10 million to city contracts without first evaluating, is it necessary? I mean, is it necessary as opposed to going your current policy, which is we're going to repave the lane that's impacted, to we're going to repave the whole street. Is it necessary to repave the whole street? Am I wading into uncharted waters here, or am I going to? I just think it's like with one fell swoop, DOT just cost the city $10 million.
Well, I will just say that there's been a lot of discussion about the issue. Currently, we have a policy that we have to meet.
Well, that answers my question.
Well, it might, but at the same time, you know, we're pulling funds. If you look at items 4, 5, 6, and 7,
Where the money's coming from?
we're essentially, not only are we kicking the can down the road, but we're sort of funding projects by just grabbing those funds from prior projects or future projects. And it isn't apparent how this is actually in line with any accounting standard for capital budget management. It's sort of a free-for-all.
No, it's basically, we're not taking care of this anymore because we don't have any money. We can't get any capital improvement funds to repave the roads that we know. So DOT, you got to do it.
But I would say not exclusively to DOT.
I'm sorry,
seeing-
DPW.
Yeah.
DPW, you got to do it now.
Yeah.
DOT is not going to do it. We don't have the money, so you got to do it.
I do know that there are a lot of other considerations that went into this policy. So if you wanted to defer these items or approve these items, we can come back in 3 weeks or via email and get a briefing, even on the public session if you'd like, get kind of a deeper briefing on this issue. As far as the accounting, transferring the funds does go through this public process. It has to go to the Board of Estimates when it's not consistent with the BOE, so it is public there, and they do have to sign off on it in addition to this body here. And so that's kind of built into the process.
But who adopted the policy? Was it DOT solely adopting a new policy without, impacting or without, discussing and including DPW and anybody else who was going to be involved in it?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Kristen, I heard,
Because I'm DPW, and I'm going to adopt a policy that says I'm not repaving anything. It's all back on you, DOT. I mean, what? I'm sorry.
I heard two main things in your explanation. Cost increases because of the policy and inflation. Also, transfer of responsibility from DOT to DPW.
And forgive me, I don't know that was the case, that it's transferring responsibility. It sounds like
It's more of the policy.
expanded responsibility, but I'm happy to follow up and provide you more detail.
All right.
All right,
That's fine.
here's what I'm going to suggest, so as to not hold up important capital improvement projects. The underlying issue is the water main replacement and rehabilitation in Upper Fells Point and West Canton. I would recommend that we approve these, but I would really like to have a briefing at our next session regarding this specific policy, how it came about, what the implications are, because this could go on for a long, long time with DPW projects. Is that fair? Marcia, are we just barking up we're barking up a tree that's?
No, I mean, a sister agency made a decision. It's been discussed, believe me, very thoroughly between the two agencies because, as far as I can determine, we would be the only entity digging in the street that would be consistently affected by this change in policy because it has to do with the width of excavation. So when we're excavating for, a 36-inch pipe, we're going to hit the mark every time. But there was, it's been, believe me, it's been discussed a lot. And, we're trying to meet our obligation under that new policy. But it does have dollar implications. I mean, for some people, the fact that it's enterprise funds makes them feel fine with it. Obviously, we're the ones with the enterprise fund, so we have a different perspective. And, would have appreciated some grandfathering. But, believe me, there were a lot of discussions back and forth, and this is where we are today. I thought I heard from my fellow commissioner that it was more than just the policy. I thought there was another aspect that you wanted
Well, and first of all,
expressed.
I did want to compliment the staff because descriptions that are being provided are much more robust and really helpful. So thumbs up. No, I was struck reading item number 5 in the same report that says the House lateral upgrade program is a very old program and unused appropriations, with unused appropriations. And following up on some of Eric's concerns, do we have any accounting for unused appropriations? How is that all managed? And so that was my concern. I think that the policy is the policy, but it's sort of a separate question related, as separate from the accounting.
I respect that. However, we're pulling money out of the Fullerton Water Filtration Reserve, the Montebello Water Filtration, and the chlorine handling safety improvement to pave a road.
Right, I know. How does that?
That doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me, unless the road needs to be paved. If the road doesn't need to be paved, if it's just a policy of DOT to say, okay, you know what, you used to do it this way, we want you to do it this way, regardless of whether that road needs to be repaved or anything, that's the way it is, and we're pulling money out of water filtration reserve, water filtration, chlorine handling, safety improvement, to pave roads, doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense to me.
And I think I just want to say your point is received about accounting for the old funds, that House lateral upgrade, the appropriations, the authority have been sitting on the books for quite some time. City policy is currently that capital funds don't expire. We're working to change that. We're working diligently. We have, I would say, an informal policy to expire the funds and are working to operationalize that within the city's accounting system so that we can enact the policy and abide by that policy. We're working diligently to get the data in a condition where we can analyze the age of the funds and the ability to expire the funds as needed as staff time permits.
This is a really practical issue that all of us see. Just a few months ago, my street was repaved after BGE subcontractors ran new gas lines. Lane to lane, the whole lane, not curb to curb, so I guess under the old policy. That very same lane, just a few months later, is currently being dug up by other subcontractors for conduit work. So now that will get repaved, whether it's the one lane or whether it's curb to curb. We are just spending this money as if it's unavoidable when we haven't, done that baseline coordination that we've talked about for years. And if this money hasn't already been spent, we should not do it. We can't let policy and people not talking to each other let $10 million go out the door if it hasn't already happened. But that's just we should move on, but I won't vote for this issue.
I respect that. Are there any other questions or comments regarding the June 26th Board of Estimate meeting? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Williams. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
Opposed.
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 We may need
It's
that
four.
count again.
Councilwoman's here.
It's 4-4.
Okay.
Where's the
I
line when you need
guess,
All right, is there a?
Very rare.
So the motion
Consent
doesn't carry.
agenda.
it's a move to approve minus the,
Item 4.
of the June 26th.
So a motion's been made to approve the Board of Estimates June 26th transfers, except item number 4.
Oh, is that different than 5, 6, or 7?
I'm happy to.
They're all similar.
It's on the next one, too.
We'll get to that one, too. I mean,
I closed it.
damn it, you got to make a stand. No matter how weak our position.
I would support the deputy mayor's motion.
For items, just item 4.
Is that a second?
Second.
Okay, so we got a motion and a second to approve the June 26th transfers with the exception of item number 4. So we've got a motion by Deputy Mayor Williams, Vice Chair. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, except item 4. All right, we next have the July 10th Board of Estimates meeting, which included 4 items.
I'd like to make a motion to approve except for item number 3, which is identical to the discussion we just had.
Great. Motion made.
Second that motion.
Vice Chair and Aaron. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. All right, moving on to our next consent agenda item. City Council Bill number 24-0518, South Baltimore Gateway Community Impact District and Management Authority renewal through June 30th, 2028. I know this is on our consent agenda item. At some point, whether it was on the Wix page, do we even need to vote on this? Or was it already approved at a city council hearing on July 2nd?
We already approved this
Okay.
in Ways and Means on July 2nd, Mr. Chair.
So it's not necessary. All right, minor subdivision final plans, number 18, well, let me step back.
Mr. Chair, could we?
Approve it just for,
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda item number.
okay. Motion by Councilman Costello. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jolin. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Minor subdivision final plans 1860 Frank First Avenue in the 10th District. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Was that Vice Chair? Okay. Okay, second? Second, Commissioner Dolan. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Next, we have minor subdivision final plan 601 Enzor Street in the 12th District. Any questions or comments regarding this? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Chair Stevenson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Finally, we have the major subdivision final development plans for 1700 Barclay Street, City Apartments 2, Phase 2 townhouses. Final design approval of completed subdivision number 2015-003 in the 12th District. Questions or comments regarding this? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve?
Thank you, Commissioner McCoach. Second? Second?
No, second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Vice Chair Stevenson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Now turning it over, the regular agenda over to Mr. Secretary.
First item on the regular agenda, City Council Bill number 24-0546, a rezoning for 6001 Moravia Park Drive, in the Second Councilmatic District. Claude Odette will present.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here today in lieu of Eric Tiso to present the City Council Bill for 6001 Moravia Park Drive. So Eric Tiso wrote the staff report. The petitioner is the Greater World Outreach Incorporation. The owner is the Greater World Outreach, and this is in the Northeast Planning District, where Carmen Morrison is the planner. 6001 Moravia Park Drive is located on the south side of the street between the intersections with Moravia Road and Frankfurt Avenue. The property contains 13.617 acres of land and is currently improved to the one-story former shopping center that has been redeveloped for use as a place of worship and a private Christian school. The site is zoned C4. Sorry, hold on. I didn't draw. Okay, right. Site is located on the northern edge of the Pulaski Industrial Area, which is a predominantly industrial and commercial area along the eastern boundary of the city, along I-895, I-95, and Erdman Avenue corridors. The Frankfurt neighborhood lies to the north of Moravia Park Drive. So here you can see the current zoning of C4. It kind of extends the commercial corridor to the west. Here's the previous zoning, which was very similar. And here it is combined. An overview of it showing the large-scale parking lot. Again, and another view. Okay. So the applicant would like to rezone their property to the EC2 zone as they are interested in adding a dormitory to the place of worship to support the private Christian school on campus and the Maryland Bible College and Seminary. As per Article 32 of zoning, for proposed zoning and map amendments, the required findings, there must be a substantial change in the character of the neighborhood where the property is located or a mistake in the existing zoning classification. In making the determination required by subsection B1 of this section, City Council must also make findings of fact that address the population changes, the availability of public facilities, present and future transportation patterns, compatibility with existing and proposed development of the area, the recommendations of the city agencies and officials, and the proposed amendments' consistency with the city's comprehensive master plan. Additional standards that must be considered for map amendments are existing uses of property within the general area, the zoning classification of other property within the area, the suitability of the property in question for the uses permitted under its existing zoning classification, and the trend of development, if any, in the general area of the property in question. So, per Article 32, the City Council may approve the legislative authority based on the finding that there was either A, a substantial change in the character of the neighborhood where the property is located, or a mistake in the existing zoning classification. For a mistake for this property, as part of the comprehensive rezoning of the city in 2017, the property was assigned C for heavy commercial zoning, the purpose of which is described as intended for areas of more intense commercial use that are generally not appropriate for lower intensity commercial districts, including uses related to motor vehicles and those that might require outdoor storage. This former shopping center has been redeveloped as a Greater World Outreach since the late 90s. Given that history of use by Greater World Outreach that had spanned 2 decades by the point of the rezoning in 2017, it could have been presumed that the campus would continue this use for some time, and that redevelopment back to a shopping center or for heavy commercial uses would be unlikely. So given that history, we find that this is a mistake and that rezoning to EC2 is reasonable. Additionally, while perhaps not a substantial change, staff notes that several buildings in the previously commercial area have been repurposed and redeveloped for use as places of worship. There are 3 separate institutions within the triangle of Moravia Road, Moravia Park Drive, and the I-895 corridor. So this generally indicates that there's not a strong demand for continued commercial use in the immediate area. So additionally, the Planning Commission and BMZA are required to study the proposed changes in relation to the plan, the needs of Baltimore City, and the needs of the particular neighborhood. So in reviewing this request, staff finds that per the plan, there are no provisions of any adopted plan that are relevant to this property. As such, there are no immediate obstacles to changing the zoning to match the actual use of the property over the past couple of decades. The needs of Baltimore City, there's no immediate need to preserve heavy commercial land in the city, whereas the educational uses on the property serve the city and surrounding communities. and the needs of the particular neighborhood. This property is located in the Pulaski Industrial Area, which is not a traditional neighborhood. While the city has a general goal of preserving land for industrial uses, this former shopping center was appropriately redeveloped for this campus use, preserving the existing buildings, which staff generally encourages in terms of greater sustainability. This redevelopment prevented vacancy and the deterioration of properties, as continuation as a shopping center was not viable at the time. Similarly, per the land use article, also adopted in Article 32, which requires City Council to make findings of fact. The findings of fact include that population change, there was a minor decrease in population from 171 to 123 residents between the 2010 and 2020 census. The area is well served by public utilities, present and future transportation patterns. The rezoning of this property will not significantly impact transportation patterns, compatibility with existing and proposed development for the area. The relatively low intensity of the school campus is a good buffer between the industrial area and the Frankfurt neighborhood. And the recommendations of Planning Commission and BMZA. So for the above reasons, the Planning Department recommends approval of the rezoning request. Let's see here. Just to note, sorry, I was going the wrong direction. The Frankfurt Improvement Association has been notified of this action. No comments have been received, and staff recommends that the commission adopt the findings and approve.
Property was properly posted.
Yes.
This is evidence that it works good. Thank you very much, Ms. Audette. Questions for Caitlin, Councilman Costello,
Nope. Great report, thank you.
Commissioner Allen, Commissioner Jones,
No questions, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Williams.
I know you mentioned it was driven by the proposed dormitory. Is that not use and allowed in the C4? Not that it's really irrelevant, but I guess.
I don't believe it was. Yeah, and also this is a more appropriate zoning for the entire campus.
Right. Well, I guess I'm thinking if it's what you see, so it's educational, and I know you mentioned it's a Bible college.
Yeah, it has both a K through 12 school and the Maryland Bible College.
Okay, thanks.
Vice Chair Stevenson,
All my questions were answered, thank you.
Commissioner Collins,
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner McCoach.
No questions. A very good evolution.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak on this item?
Only if you have questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wallman. Anyone? We'll close the public hearing. Questions, comments, deliberations amongst the commission?
It'll be great to see something developed on a parking lot.
Unless they have to repay it, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move the item favorably.
Okay. The motion is to accept the findings of fact and approve in accordance with it. Great.
Like you said, Mr. Chair, you took the words right from my mouth.
So many things to say to you.
Second?
I had it on all the entire time there. Second, Vice Chair Stevenson, great. Mr. Secretary, you call roll.
Robin Allen. Marcia Collins.
Approve.
Eric Costello. Claudia Jolin.
Approve.
Doug McCoach.
Approve.
Justin Williams.
Approve.
Eric Stevenson.
Approve.
Sean Davis.
Approve.
Next item on the agenda is City Council Bill Number 24-0548, zoning conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling unit to 3 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district with variances at 2035 McCullough Street in the 7th Councilmanic District. Matt DeSantis will present.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the commission.
Sure.
Yes, Commissioner, I'm sorry, Councilman Costello, did you have it?
Yes, that's the 11th district, not the 7th. The dividing line is the 2,000 in between the 2100 block. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We will duly note that as the 11th district. But still, Councilman Torrance, Who
Nope.
introduced this?
I introduced this bill.
Okay.
That will be in the 7th district after December because it is being redistricted, but I was the lead sponsor on this bill.
Let's duly reflect that in our record. Mr. DeSantis, did you enjoy your lunch?
I did, thank you. Hopefully there's some more tuna sandwiches. You could always feel free to save me the tuna in future,
Please.
future hearings. Good afternoon. My name is Matt DeSantis. I will be presenting this conversion bill along with the other two conversion bills on today's agenda. The reports were prepped for all three of these and the previous item and a couple others by Eric, who's someplace in the woods right now. Not lost, certainly. I'm sure he knows where he is, but he's in the woods. City Council Bill 24-0548 is for the conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling to 3 dwelling units. Properties located in the R8 district. The bill includes one variance for, variances for the 2 required off-street parking spaces. This is located in our western district. Tariq Bolden is our community planner. So the map, here we go. You can see the property is highlighted in yellow, just below Bloom Street. There's a couple aerial images of the property. It's the third door down from the corner. The beautiful turret roof feature. Property is located in the Druid Heights neighborhood. Conversion standards, as listed per section 5-406 in the zoning code, are shown on screen. Staff believes that there will not be any detrimental impact to the surrounding community as a result of this request. Instead, a vacant home will be renovated and returned to productive use. Staff is also not aware of any law or plan that would preclude the approval of this application. Public interest is being served by encouraging the redevelopment of the vacant structure. And lastly, this proposal meets all of the bulk requirements for the zoning district once the variance for one off-street parking space is approved. For these reasons, staff believes that the conditional use should be approved. Listed next are the required considerations for conversions, some site-specific details. 750 square feet of lot area is needed per dwelling unit in the zoning district, so 1,875 square feet total is required. This lot encloses 1,955 square feet, so it meets this requirement. Multifamily dwellings require 1 parking space each, so for each of these 2 extra dwelling units, 1 off-street parking space is required. The lot is, Eric could put in the report, I believe it's 19 feet wide. So there's some space in the backyard. There's not technically enough space for two legal off-street parking spaces. For that reason, the parking variance has been included in this bill. The existing dwelling must be originally constructed as a single-family dwelling with at least 1,500 square feet or more in gross area. The existing building is about 3,300 square feet in gross floor area, so it satisfies that requirement. Each of the proposed 2-bedroom dwelling units will contain approximately 1,000 square feet in gross floor area, which meets the requirement for GFA per unit. With that, staff is recommending approval of this bill. The Druid Heights CDC has been notified of this action. The site has been posted. There are a couple letters for this bill, and there is an MOU with the Druid Heights CDC for the conversion of this property into 3 units. There's also, just received today, there's a letter of opposition that's been uploaded to Wix. May need to refresh your.
When was that loaded?
This email was sent in this afternoon, and it was uploaded. I uploaded it myself about 45 minutes ago. It's very brief. The basic gist is that writer wishes that there are more single-family dwellings in the neighborhood and not conversions to apartments.
You included the MOU for what reason?
It's included in the backup that Eric had prepared. I believe it's sort of,
I should have said Eric included the MOU for what reason?
it shows, it shows support between the Druid Heights CDC for this proposed conversion.
For the record, the commission has no authority to, do anything with that MOU. It shouldn't come into our considerations or factors. It's great that the property owner and the community have reached the MOU, but it doesn't weigh into our consideration. The legal standards that we are governed by were described by Mr. DeSantis. Questions for Matt? Commissioner McCoach?
No questions.
Commissioner Collins?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Vice Chair Stevenson?
What is the the size standard that we use for off-street parking? You said 19 feet is not enough for 2 spots?
9 by 18.
9 by 18, so
So
Technically, 9 feet could be.
You need 18 by 18.
yes.
And how big is the space? The
wide is
lot
the
is
lot?
20
I thought I heard it was 19 feet wide.
wide.
And
It's only 17.
It's 17 foot wide, I believe.
Understood.
Property owner this year.
Understood. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Williams. Commissioner Jolin?
So MOU, I understand that we're not taking into consideration, but community support-ish in that factor.
That's my understanding, that
Okay,
that's
great.
why this was,
But the letter of opposition is from the CDC chair?
I noticed that.
Any, oh, is that the comment there? Is there anything, is there just any more information can be given about this?
I don't have any additional information on that. I acknowledge it seems like a contradiction. There might be folks here who are interested in testifying. That's as much as I can say about it.
Excellent, thank you.
So can we run that back real quick? So there's a letter of,
There's a letter of opposition that was posted into the Wix page this afternoon by Mr. DeSantis. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of it because I print out all my stuff. I'm that old.
who's that?
This is sent in by Mr. Richard Edwards, who identifies himself as the board chair of the president.
Yeah, he's the chair of the board. Isn't there documentation from
John J. Jennings.
John Jerry Jennings,
That-
the executive director?
Yes, that's correct.
There's an MOU that was signed 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the MOU was signed by John
John
Jennings
Jennings.
as the executive director and David Carl as the authorized representative.
Yep.
All right, so let me just read responding to City Council Bill number 24-0598, 2035 McCullough Street. The Druid Heights community is already overwhelmed with multiple apartment units. The current resources do not align with the current needs of the community. Adding more multiple units will only create more problems in the community. The community needs more single-family units. Please do not pass City Council Bill 24-0598. I'm wondering whether or not Mr. Edwards is writing on behalf of the CDC or as himself. If he is here, he will be able to answer that. If not, then we can take it for
He's
whatever.
not. Yeah, Mr. Edwards isn't here. Mr. Edwards is fantastic. He's I wish every neighborhood in the city had many of him. This is a guy that goes out and mows the vacant lots because the city doesn't do its job and do it. This is a guy who cleans up trash in the neighborhood, organizes cookouts in the community. Great guy. However, when this was brought to Druid Heights CDC, specifically the executive director, there was an agreement that was put in place at the time. Property owner moved forward with that understanding, so.
And I don't know whether or not Mr. Edwards is writing this on behalf of the CDC or on behalf of himself personally, and just identifying himself as the board president. So if he's not here, then he can't answer that. So back to you, Commissioner Jolin. Any other questions for Mr. DeSantis? Commissioner Allen?
No, thank you.
Councilman Costello?
No.
I have no questions. Thank you very much, Matt. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. But let me step back. If you would, since you answered a question, if you would just come up and tell us your name so that we have it on the record.
Sure, thank you. I'm David Carl, I'm the property owner.
Great, thank you
So
very much.
I can, if you'd like to know about my meetings with Jewett Heights.
No, I think we're good. I just wanted to make sure that you were on the record since you did answer a question. Okay, public hearing is closed. Questions, comments, deliberations from the commission? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Costello. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Williams. Mr. Secretary, will you call roll?
Robin Allen,
Approve.
Marcia Collins,
Approve.
Eric Costello, Claudia Jolin,
Approve.
Doug Coach,
Approve.
Justin Williams,
Approve.
Eric Stevenson,
Approve?
and Sean Davis.
Approve. Congratulations.
Next bill is City Council Bill number 24-0549, a conditional use conversion of single-family dwelling unit to 2 dwelling units in the R8 zoning district with variances at 1002 West Landville.
Real quickly, before you begin your presentation, was this property posted?
That is how I was going to begin my presentation. Yes, Mr. Chair, I noticed just before the start of the hearing, that staff has not received evidence of required posting. It isn't on your Wix site. I checked in our files. The last thing that I found in our files was Eric's email instructions for posting. What I would suggest, recommends, what the commission could do is inquire if anyone from the public, if an owner or someone is here who possibly could provide evidence of posting.
That's what I was going to do.
In lieu of that,
That's where I was
the
supposed to
commission.
start. Is there anyone here in the public who is here to testify on this agenda item? Anyone? Anyone?
You happen
Well-
to know, is this the Blue House?
I'm sorry?
Pardon?
I may be able to confirm myself if this is the house I'm thinking of.
Sure, I can skip to an aerial. It's that property right at the corner of Landville and Fremont.
Blue?
Northwest corner.
Oh, it's blue. This guy.
Doesn't look blue.
No, it's not the Blue House. It's across the street
So
from the Blue House.
here's the deal. There's nobody here to testify on this agenda item. We do not have evidence of posting. I don't feel like making a motion to waive posting if there's nobody here to talk about the item. So I would recommend that we defer this to another hearing and where the property owner can provide proper posting. Does that make sense?
Is there a letter of support on this?
Yeah, there is a letter of support that's been received from the Harlem Park Neighborhood Council.
Interestingly, though, the letter of support talks about 4 units.
Yes.
And the application is for 2 units. I would assume that the Harlem Park Neighborhood Council wouldn't have a problem with 2 units as opposed to 4, but since nobody is here to testify on this, I just,
It's identified as a 6-bedroom unit, as illustrated by the plans, bedrooms 1 through 6, even though there are 2 kitchens. It's identified as 2 two-story units in our staff report, or as a 4-family multi-unit in the statement of intent, which I don't really know what a 4-family multi-unit is. So if that could be clarified, that would be really helpful. And then Harlem Park's letter of support had a caveat that there was a second means of egress. If it is a 2-unit building, the first and the basement levels are one of those units. And the basement, without some sort of egress shown in the plan, wouldn't meet safety requirements, fire code. So that's something else they could attend to in this, this delay.
I will instruct Eric to check the recording.
I think it's, obviously the application needs to be perfected and we need to provide posting before the commission deliberates on it. Everybody agree? Okay, let's move on.
Okay, next. Next item on the agenda is City Council Bill number 24-0550, zoning conditional use for retail goods establishment with alcoholic beverage sales at 3601 Elm Avenue in the 14th District. Ren Southern will present.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is the request is for the purpose of permitting, subject to certain conditions, the establishment, maintenance, and operation of a retail goods establishment with alcoholic beverages at the property known as 3601 Elm Avenue. Eric Tiso is the staff person assigned, but I will be presenting. The petitioner is Wells Enterprises LLC and Caroline Hacker Esquire. The owner is Wells Enterprises, and this is in the Northern Planning District. Marie McSweeney Anderson is the community planner. So this is the building right here, located at the northeast of the intersection of Berry Street and Elm Avenue, just off of the Hamden Main Street, which is 36th Street here. Also known to many as the Wine Source, highlighted in yellow there. This is an aerial of the building. You can see there's a little bit of parking along Berry Street and along Elm. And the building is kind of nestled in with the row houses here. Another shot of the building from above. The building has operated as a wine shop for a number of years. Again, a view from the west. Okay, so the conditional use requires some approval standards. In this commercial zoning district, retail goods establishments with alcoholic beverage sales are listed as conditional uses requiring approval by an ordinance. This is from Table 10301. In this case, the property was last authorized for use as a tavern's 2A license, off-premises sales, which under the previous zoning code was a permitted use in the B22 district at that time. This property is also located in the Hamden URP, in the neighborhood business land use area of the plan, where the uses of the C1 district are allowed with minimal additional controls that don't apply to this particular use. This is a continuation of this conditional use. The Section 5406 approval standards for limited criteria for denying or approving. Let's see. So the BMZA and City Council may approve a conditional use or sign unless after public notice and hearings on the consideration of the standards required by the subtitle, the board or council finds that 1, the establishment, location, construction, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use or sign would not be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, or welfare. Number 2, the use or sign would not be precluded by any other law. Number 3, the authorization would not be contrary to the public interest. And number 4, the authorization would be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the code. Staff believes that the criteria under 5406 are met and that the property is of sufficient size, provides parking, doesn't impact the surrounding area any more than it would if located in any other C1 property. It's an existing use that doesn't impair future development in the area. The other criteria are addressed as this existing use has been at this location since 2009. So this is basically just a cleanup. The owner was in the process of selling the property when they realized that the license hadn't been updated. Planning recommends approval. The item was properly posted. Greenmount West and Hamden Community Council have been notified of the action. You'll notice that there were 2 letters for the companion bill. That bill is, pardon me while I find it. Maybe I don't have it here. City Council Bill 24-0221R, which authorized the conversion of the BD7 Tavern liquor license to an A7 packaged goods store.
The Ways and Means Committee has already approved CCB 24-0221R, and two of the supportive letters referenced that bill. I received 3 more letters this morning, which got posted to the website around noon. Those letters are all 3 letters are in favor of this bill, and they are for the legislation at hand, the 24-0550. One is from the councilperson, one is from the Hamden Community Council, and the other is from the Hamden Village Merchants Association. My apologies for not posting those sooner. And the recommendation is for approval.
Thank you very much, Ms. Southard. Questions for Ms. Southard, Councilman Costello?
Nope.
Commissioner Allen?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Dolan?
No questions, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Weiss? Vice Chair Stevenson?
No questions.
Mr. Collins?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner McCoach?
No questions.
And I have no questions. Thank you very much, Ren. Councilwoman Ramos, is there something you'd like to add? Welcome.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Councilwoman Ramos, thanks for considering this. This is just a way for this bill, and the companion is a way to make sure that all of the agreements with the community stay with the community, and also, as Ren had said, that it's really clean up, because right now they're in non-conformance, and this brings them into conformance with the code and all of the things that are needed. So you saw that we do have letters of support. We did our normal community process that I always do. So I really appreciate your consideration. Thank you. And if I may, Mr. Chair, take just a brief point of personal privilege. If you have questions about the inclusionary bill, I did hear that discussion, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I am the sponsor.
Thank you, Ren.
Sure.
Are there any questions for the Councilwoman? Thank you very much, Councilwoman.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on this agenda item?
Only good questions, Mr. Chair.
I do not, but thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Questions, comments, deliberations, discussion, motion from the commission?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, was that Commissioner, Vice Chair Stevenson? Great. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Mr. Secretary, call roll.
Robin Allen.
Approve.
Marcia Collins.
Approve.
Eric Costello.
Approve.
Claudia Jolin.
Approve.
Doug McCoach.
Approve.
Justin Williams.
Approve.
Eric Stevenson.
Approve.
And Sean Davis.
Approve. Next.
Next item on the agenda, City Council Bill Number 24-0551, zoning conditional, conditional use conversion of a single-family dwelling into 2 dwelling units in the R7 zoning district at 3115 Walbrook Avenue in the 7th Councilmanic District. Matt DeSantis will present.
Good afternoon. This is the third and last conversion bill. Request is to convert this R7 single-family building into 2 dwelling units at 3115 Walbrook Avenue. This report was prepped by Eric again, and I'm pinch hitting for him. This is located in our Western District with Treat Bolden as a community planner. The property is located in the Walbrook neighborhood, just a block north of North Ave. Here is an aerial. It's a very large, very large property with a very large single-family detached home that appears to have been vacant for quite some time. Again, listed on section 5406, the limited criteria for denying requests as such. Staff believes that that these criteria are met. The property is quite large, provides more than enough parking area, but more than enough parking. The area is well served by utilities. There will be no anticipated impacts to the development potential of surrounding lots. And this use won't likely impact the surrounding area any more than if it were located on any other R7 property. Following are the required considerations for conversions and specific to the site. 1,100 square feet of lot area it is needed per dwelling unit, so 2,200 square feet is required. The lot is 15,000 square feet, so it greatly exceeds this minimum lot area requirement. One parking space each is required, so for this one new extra dwelling unit, there's a requirement for one new parking space, which will be provided. As you saw in the aerial, there's lots of room on the property. The existing dwelling unit was originally constructed as a single-family dwelling, greatly in excess of the minimum 1,500 square feet. It's about 3,900 square feet. So the first unit will have 3 bedrooms and about 1,700 square feet of gross floor area, and the second proposed unit will have 2 bedrooms and will contain 1,100 square feet of gross floor area, both of which satisfy the minimum unit requirement. Staff recommends approval. The site was noticed. The Gwynbrook Garrowwood Neighborhood Association has been notified. Staff has received a couple letters, both a letter of support from the Greater Walbrook Neighborhood Association, and then also a letter of objection from the Church of St. Mary the Virgin, which is the church that's directly next door. Both of those letters are in your backup. Be happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability. And Treek Bolden is here as well. Thank you. Our community planner, Treek Bolden. I was just calling out Treeks here. If there's any questions that I can't answer.
Fantastic. Commissioner McCoach.
Just a quick one, Matt. There's an accessory structure on the site, and it seems to be a little bit different than the plot plan that's provided.
Do you have
any idea what the feature of the accessory structure is?
I'm not sure how recent the aerials are, but I think you're referring to this structure back here, which I believe, I was looking at the street view from the alleyway earlier this morning. It looks like it was a derelict old garage. But I'm not, I couldn't speak to like exactly what's there on the site or what's envisioned for that structure.
Just for the record, if you look at that street on the left-hand side, it looks like it was perfectly paved. Sorry.
Perhaps we were there. I don't know.
I see some patches where there were cuts also. Pointer's not
Are
working.
there any other questions, Commissioner McCoach? Commissioner Collins?
Not at this time.
Vice Chair Stevenson?
Microphone. No questions.
Deputy Mayor Williams?
No questions.
Commissioner Jones?
No questions.
Commissioner Allen?
No, thank you.
Councilman Costello?
Negative.
My only question is, the letter in opposition by the church talks about a zoning change. Was there at any time a proposed zoning change for this, or is that just a misnomer on behalf of the church?
I'm not aware of any legislation to change the zoning. My hunch would be that, oftentimes community groups, they use.
I respect that. If they see a post go up, they think it's a zoning and it's really a conditional use. And if there's somebody here from the church, we can talk with them about that. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mr. DeSantis. Is there anyone here from the community who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Questions, comments, deliberations from the commission? If not, a motion.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Vice Chair Stevenson. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Collins. Mr. Secretary, we call roll.
Robin Allen.
Approve.
Marsha Collins.
Approve.
Eric Costello.
Approved.
Claudia Jolin.
Approve.
Doug McCoach.
Approve.
Justin Williams.
Approve.
Eric Stevenson.
Approve.
And John Davis.
Approve. Our final agenda item.
Final agenda item is City Council Bill number 24-0558, the repeal of ordinance 95-572 as amended by ordinance 96-096, the planned unit development for Lighthouse Point, First Councilmatic District. Caitlin Aldet will present.
Ms. Audette.
I have to present to you the repeal of the Lighthouse Point PUD. My name is Caitlin Audette. The petitioner is Scott Plank and Steve Jennings, with Joe Woolman as the representative. There are multiple property owners. This is in the Eastern Planning District where Monty Jasper is the community planner. So this planned unit development area includes the residential community of the Moorings at Canton, the Beacon condominiums, the Lighthouse Landing condominiums, the Drift Bar, and the Lighthouse Point Marina.
All right,
as
so
well.
real quickly,
Sorry.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but what the hell is that building in the middle of the water?
I don't know.
It's just weird. All right, forgive
Hold on.
us.
Lighthouse Point.
I think it is,
It's the marina.
Okay.
it's part of the marina.
Only that one shines.
Forgive me.
So these properties are located to the southwest of Boston Street, generally between the Boston Street Pier Park to the north and Canton Waterfront Park to the southeast. The site is located along the water at the southern edge of the Canton neighborhood and includes a number of condos along the water. The O'Donnell Street commercial corridor is to the north. Besides Boston Street, the PUD is defined by the water, the Boston Street Pier Park to the northwest, and 2801 Boston Street to the southeast. So here's another view of the area in question, and the opposite direction. There are a number of amendments to the PUD over time. So in December of 1989, this established the planned unit development for the Baltimore International Yachting Center for a portion of the site. Then in 1995, another ordinance replaced and renamed the previous planned unit redevelopment. And then December of 1996, it was further amended to modify terminology around townhouse and residential units and modified a portion of the maximum height identified within the plan. A number of minor amendments for signage and development have occurred since then. So in determining whether to approve the repeal of a planned unit development, the Planning Commission and City Council must find that the repeal of the planned unit development is in the public interest, and the approved final development plan of the planned unit development has been substantially completed, is no longer necessary in light of the property's underlying zoning, is no longer consistent with the city's master plan, or has been abandoned by the property owner. Under the prior zoning code, the area included both M3, which is the heaviest industrial zoning available, and B32, which is community and highway commercial, which allowed for the widest variety of commercial uses. The PUD was utilized during the transition of the Canton waterfront from industrial and supportive of industrial to residential and community commercial. So the PUD, along with the Canton waterfront urban renewal plan, were intended to provide limits for residential and commercial development that weren't part of the previous zoning. The PUD area has subsequently been rezoned to C2 W1 under the comprehensive rezoning of the city in 2017. The C2 category is intended for areas of small to medium scale commercial use, typically located along urban corridors that are designed to accommodate pedestrians and in some instances automobiles. The W1 waterfront overlay applies to land along the waterfront areas characterized by a hardscape boundary with the water, such as bulkheads, port facilities, or hard surface promenade. The existing uses that have been developed will continue as either permitted or lawfully established conditional uses for this, and for this reason, the PUD is found to be no longer necessary and can be repealed per the previous identified section. Just some information on some of the limits that are within the PUD. It has a maximum height of 72 feet. It limits the number of residential units to 80. It no longer allows off-street parking garages as per Amendment Number 1, and it allows for a wide variety of uses that are similar to what's there today. The waterfront overlay, again, just to give you an idea of if the PUD is repealed, what will be allowed, has a requirement that the average height of the built area may not exceed 50 feet with a maximum height of 79 feet. And again, it states that the water's edge shall have a maximum height of 40 feet, and then that the slope upwards cannot exceed 79 feet at an angle of no more than 45 degrees. So a height limit will still be in this area, even without the PUD. And then additionally, the W1 has a protection for the public right-of-way view corridors, which is also in the PUD, and this is also duplicated in the urban renewal plan, so it is fairly standard. For equity, so the zoning concerns from 35 years ago when the PUD was created have been solved by the more modern zoning code, and there will be no evident change to the existing uses. Future development will proceed according to the underlying zoning requirements and the urban renewal plan, and no additional staff time or resources will be devoted following the repeal of this PUD.
Thank you very much, Caitlin.
One. The site was properly posted, and Canton Community Association and the various condominium groups have been notified. And yeah, staff recommends approval. Any questions?
And the property was properly posted, as we have multiple photographs of the posting. Okay. Questions for Ms. Audette, Councilman Costello?
Nope.
Commissioner Allen?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Joel?
No questions.
Deputy Mayor Williams?
No questions.
Vice Chair Stevenson?
No questions.
Commissioner Collins?
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner McCoach?
No questions.
And I have no questions. Thank you very much, Caitlin. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak on this agenda item? If you do, please come on up.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Ballou.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Ballou. I'm a resident of the Beacon condominium. And I understand this seems to be a very simple request, repeal, whatever, but it seems to some of the owners whose properties are going to be affected by the eventual changes to the property that it's a good idea to be informed of what's going on, and I'm just concerned that this change might have some kind of hidden effect of allowing property to be built in front of my unit, and which will probably block my view of the water, and also the construction will probably be quite annoying for a long period of time. It's my understanding that instead of a parking lot that exists now, that the land will be converted to apartment units. And I'm only speaking for myself, but I don't feel that any additional apartment units are needed in the area, as there are a number of brand-new apartments that have been built around the Canton area. Just don't understand the changes that would happen with the repeal. And I do intend on attending as many hearings as possible. I know there's at least one more that's been posted. So unfortunately, I couldn't do much planning because I just got back into town yesterday evening, as in talking to the staff here, which I plan to do after the meeting.
Hopefully from a cooler place. No, thank you very much for being here. I mean, I think I'm delighted you're here. You're correct. There will be at least one more public hearing at the City Council. We are a recommending body to the City Council, so what we say, the City Council can take for whatever they want to take it, or however they want to take it. So, but real quickly, I just want to make sure that you understand, under the existing PUD, something could be built on that parking lot now.
That may be true. The PUD, I have gotten a copy of what I assume was the PUD from the city. It's not very clear. I'm not an architect. When I purchased my property in 2018, there was no information provided to me that what was clearly a parking lot would become a building that would most likely block my very nice view of the water.
Yeah, I've been in that building. There are great views, but I think as Ms. Odette had pointed out, currently on that site, there, a multifamily building can be constructed up to an average height of, I thought you said 50 feet, with a maximum height of
So
72
under
feet?
under the PUD, the max building height, I believe, is 72 feet. And under the urban renewal plan, which will continue to exist, the average building height is 50 feet. So there are still layers of protection that are equivalent to what the PUD has. And what I would say is this removes one of the burdensome, a burden for the community. You don't have 3 very difficult documents to understand, now you just have 2.
So the property could be developed right now under the PUD within certain requirements. I just want to make sure that you understood that.
That's my understanding. As I said, though, it was not,
Damn
I was not
salespeople.
informed that when I purchased that there would be a significant change to the view in front of my.
You are not the first homeowner I've ever heard who says a salesperson didn't fully disclose. Okay. Well, hold on, don't walk away so quickly. You just got to give the commission an opportunity if they have any questions for the speaker.
My question's not directly for the speaker, and thank you, ma'am, but you raised a good point. For a PUD, there's a requirement that a certain percentage of the property owners are included or sign off or party to it, is that right?
Yeah. Not according to the requirements Ms. Audette had just identified.
I'm not positive. I'd have to look it up again. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure we can't create a PUD without the property owner, the
Oh,
affected
okay,
property
I'm sorry.
owners. That's true,
Yes, that is
Yep.
true.
right?
So for major changes, you do have to notify surrounding community members, and this repeal is considered a major change. So all of the surrounding property owners were sent, I believe, certified mail for this, not for this item, but for the city council item, if I'm correct. So yes, they do have to be notified. I'm not sure if there has to be.
It has to be brought by at least one
for the
property owner.
So real quickly, just, we have counsel for the for the owners here that we can ask that specific question to it. And
Just my understanding, and I could be mistaken, was that you needed at least a majority of property owners in order to create a PUD. And I wouldn't be surprised, but it would be interesting to note if the standard to repeal the PUD was different. It would just be interesting.
It's considered a major change, and that requires the notification. But I don't believe that it requires a majority.
Or the consent for the repeal, but I guess, well, I know this came up when there were repeals happening. I think the determination was it didn't need the consent from everybody because it's hard to track down people in these pods that have multiple layers.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
thank you very much. Are there any other questions for the speaker? Thank you. Yes, sir. Please come up. Tell us your name.
While I was coming up, do you have the slide showing the PUD boundary? The code map doesn't show it covering the parking lot. So I don't know if code map's wrong or if.
It does cover the parking lot. So the parking lot is there.
There's two parking- there's two
I'm
parking
confused by
lots.
the other one.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was dumb. Thank you.
Sir, tell us your name.
Hi, George W. Childs. Wanted to warn you that my wife is on record as saying never to give me a microphone. I like
You know what? The
Jennifer.
best thing is we control the microphone.
Well, hey, all good. I can push it too. So I'm one of Jennifer's neighbors. I have been in the Beacon, one floor up, and I think 3 or 4 doors down from her since we moved in 2 years ago this summer. And I too like my view. It is not clear to me that the removal of the PUD would have a material effect on the construction that may or may not occur after this. However, somebody's repealing it for some reason, right? Somebody wants to make the change for a reason. I just don't know what that is. I learned of this meeting yesterday by email for whatever information. I've never received any certified mail regarding anything related to this PUD. So just want to let you know. And I appreciate you
I don't
guys-
know whether or not there's any additional requirement other than the posting of the property.
Right. I don't, where
that's
was it
necessary.
posted? I don't have, no
So
idea.
we have in our, and I can be more than happy to show you these photographs.
I love them.
Which are required, they're required to provide us, and we have on our webpage where they are posted and what they say and everything, so that we make sure that they comply with the law, which they have done. So, but we can ask the counsel of the applicant if there's any additional requirements that they know of. They're next. Is there anything else you'd like to say, sir?
I just want to thank the commission for their work.
Thank you. Very much appreciate it. Any questions for the speaker? Thank you. Mr. Woolman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. First, to answer some of the questions that have already been posed regarding notification, and I have had conversations with staff about this. There is a city council hearing on this matter. It is a zoning-related bill, so a written notification to property owners is required by first-class mail. And we will be, yeah, it's going to be tedious enough to send the first-class mail notifications for the council hearing, but they don't have to be certified, but those will be sent. We also posted 3 signs, and I spoke to staff about this in advance of posting locations, et cetera. And I believe, per your comment, you have photographs of those signs in your file. My client is here, and we've embarked upon, over the past several months, a robust community outreach process, even at this early stage of the PUD repeal. There is no design yet for any project. This is a very early step in the process. But he's here to answer any questions you may have regarding the community outreach. He did meet with the residents of the Beacon. I'm not aware of whether these 2 individuals were present at the meeting or not. There's been other meetings with other organizations within the community, and he's here to answer those questions if you have some. But
I personally don't, but I would ask that after this hearing is on, if you would take those 2 residents' names and contact information.
We've already given them our card to contact us, and we'll talk outside for sure.
Just so that in the
Absolutely.
future, they're included.
Absolutely.
Are there any questions, other questions for Mr. Woolman? Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Woolman. I like your orange Orioles tie, thank you. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Questions, comments, deliberations. Again, for those of you who are not familiar with our process, we are a recommending body. This goes before the city council for ultimate approval of the repeal of the PUD, so there will be an opportunity to speak at that. And if there are no further questions, comments, deliberations amongst the commission, do we have a motion? All right. Motion.
Move to approve the repeal or staff recommendation.
For appeal of the PUD.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Costello. Mr. Secretary, will you call roll?
Robin Allen,
Approve.
Marcia Collins,
Approve.
Eric Costello,
Approve.
Claudia Jolin,
Approve.
Doug McCoach,
Approve.
Justin Williams,
Approve.
Eric Stevenson,
Approve.
and Sean Davis.
Approve. There being no further business, motion to adjourn. Approved.